Coming up tonight on Now, the big news is that tax reform bill. Even more specifically, how Senator Susan Collins plans to vote. It's a little bit controversial. We'll get to the details.
Plus, some real-life Grinches steal Christmas for people in Howland, and we've got tips on how you can protect your presents coming in the mail.
And it's World AIDS Day. We're meeting someone who calls herself an AIDS orphan.
This is News Center Now.
Senator Susan Collins pledges to vote yes on the Senate version of the GOP tax plan. We'll tell you what assurances tipped her into the yay column. Plus, the former National Security Advisor admits that he lied to the FBI during the investigation into Russian ties. But does this scandal reach the White House? Good evening, everyone. I'm Amanda Hill.
And I'm Chris Costa in for Lee Goldberg. We'll get to those developing stories in Washington, but first, we have an update on a story Now has been following for months. The Maine Dental Board threw out most of the allegations against embattled oral surgeon Dr. Jan Kipax. At a hearing in Augusta today, the board considered 32 charges, but dismissed 28 of them. The members decided that the state did not prove that Dr. Kipax failed to meet the standard of practice. Some board members noted, however, that while they did not believe Kipax failed to meet the standard, some of his protocols and procedures could have been more thorough. The surgeon's lawyers say they still have not presented their defense and believe that after they do, all of the allegations will be dismissed.
3 of those complaints have now been dismissed before Dr. Kipax has even presented a defense, and only 3 2/3 of the 64 allegations are remaining. So we're happy about that, but we'll be happier once we get a chance to present a full and adequate defense to the charges.
The board will meet again on this case on December 29th.
Well, I think most of us believe it's not a witch hunt or a hoax, and that the FBI director and all others believe this is a legitimate concern.
Shockwaves on Capitol Hill after ousted National Security Advisor Michael Flynn pleads guilty to lying to the FBI. Flynn said he made 2 false claims, both about his dealings with the Russian ambassador. First, he claimed he did not ask the ambassador to temper Russia's response to new sanctions imposed by the U.S. against Russia. Flynn now says he did ask the ambassador to, quote, refrain from escalating the situation, end quote. Second, Flynn claimed he did not ask the same ambassador to delay or defeat a United Nations Security Council resolution. Sources tell NBC News that UN resolution would have punished Israel for settlements in Palestine. The United States planned to abstain, a move President Trump strongly disagreed with. Flynn now says he did speak to the ambassador about the UN resolution. Flynn faces a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison, but legal experts say it is unlikely Flynn will get any jail time. Now, President Trump accepted Flynn's resignation early in the presidential term, but today Trump is making it clear that he will not be asking Rex Tillerson for his resignation. The president posted to his Instagram today saying that news reports claiming the Secretary of State is on his way out are false.
Meanwhile, on Capitol Hill, the focus is on tax cuts. This is a live look from the Capitol building. Senate Leader Mitch McConnell says the upper chamber will vote on the GOP tax plan today, and his party has the votes to get it through. And Senator Susan Collins says today that she is counting herself among the yay votes. This bill would bring the first major overhaul of tax code in more than 3 decades. Republicans say the cuts will help the middle class and spur national growth, but Democrats say this is a handout for the wealthy. And deficit hawks warn this could add billions of dollars to the country's growing debt.
Well, this evening, Senator Collins outlined why she decided to support that bill.
In a press release, she says 3 of her 4 proposed amendments have already been added to the bill. First, she wanted to add a deduction for up to $10,000 in state and local property taxes. Second, Collins asked that the bill maintain retirement benefits of church, charity, school, and government employees. Her third ask is a health care deduction. She asked that the bill lower the threshold for medical expense deductions from 10% of total income to 7.5%. She also said the majority leader committed to support 2 pieces of legislation designed to lower health care premiums.
All right, let's get to some weather now. We enjoyed some mild temperatures, and that's a pattern that could be continuing for a little bit.
Keith is off today, but Jess Conley's here with a first look at the forecast. Hey, Jess.
Hey, guys. Yeah, it was pretty nice today. Not too bad. The weekend is looking pretty good, too. We'll see a mix of sun and clouds this weekend. Temperatures should be seasonable, right around normal for this time of year. In the long-range forecast, though, over the next 7 or so days, we have some pretty big changes heading our way. We saw a little bit of rain and snow overnight last night. You can see right now mostly just clouds around as we zoom in a little bit. A couple areas are starting to clear out. Clear skies at night allows temperatures to cool off, and that certainly will be the case overnight tonight. We'll drop down into the upper 20s and lower 30s. It's not bad out there, though, right now. 43 right now in Portland, 45 in Biddeford, Augusta at 40 degrees. It's 40 also in Lewiston, so some pretty comfortable temperatures, a couple degrees above normal for this time of year. 41 now in Bangor, 37 in Millinocket, so not a bad evening out there, and it's going to be a pretty nice weekend too. Dry early next week, but again, in the long-range forecast, potential for big changes on the way. Could see some snow, guys. We'll talk about it coming up in a bit.
All right, Jess, thanks so much. It's a debate that's been going on for years, but researchers think they have a definitive answer.
Before we give it away, we want to know what you think. Of course, which animal is smarter, a cat or a dog? Go to pulse.newscentermaine.com or open the Pulse tab on our mobile apps to vote. We have the results and the researchers' answer at the end of the show, so support your choice right now.
Coming up, if you see people wearing red ribbons today, here's why.
The question I got asked all the time is AIDS still a thing?
We've come far since the 1980s AIDS epidemic, but the world is still searching for a cure for AIDS. Christina Rex will take us to a vigil in Portland coming.
And families in Howland had their Christmas presents stolen. How thieves got into the local post office coming up.
Maine State Police are investigating a burglary that took place at the Howland Post Office this week, and they say Christmas presents may have been the target.
Yeah, News Center's Tennyson Coleman joins us live from Howland with the details. Hey, Tennyson.
Hey, how's it going? I'm standing right outside of the post office where police say packages were stolen that may contain Christmas gifts. Now, the investigators are looking for 2 suspects. Police say sometime between Wednesday evening and early Thursday morning. The lobby at this post office is open 24 hours, but the stolen packages were locked inside the building storage area. This means the suspect or suspects had to break in. According to police, the stolen items include men and women's shoes, clothes for both children and adults, electronics, and medication. Most of these things were awaiting pickup. Police are asking for the public's help in finding the burglars. The break-in has been the talk of the town.
It makes me feel nervous, but you never expect something like that in a small town like this. Everybody knows each other. I hope they catch the person, male or female. I think that whoever did it in the stealing Christmas gifts, that's really low.
I ain't very happy about it because a lot of times some people put stuff in there, figure it's going to be there in the morning. It hurts bad because some go out and they buy a present. A lot of them can't replace it. It just hurts the poor kid that's going without.
I reached out to the manager of the post office who did not wish to comment. And I mentioned earlier that this lobby for this post office is usually open 24 hours so people can come in and get their mail. But as of 4:15, this door has been locked and neighbors say that this isn't usually the case. So it seems this may be due to the events that happened this week. Guys, back to you.
Fair to say. Thanks a lot, Tennyson. And if you ordered packages on Cyber Monday, they will most likely be arriving this week.
Yep.
Cumberland County Emergency Management Agency tweeted some package protection tips this week. The agency says consider sending packages to your workplace or to a neighbor who is actually home during the day. And here's a twofer. If you pick up in store, your order is safe and you can save on shipping. You can always have the package held for pickup at your local post office.
The FDA approved a new weapon in the fight against opioid addiction. It's called Subcolade, a new form of medically assisted treatment. It's a monthly injection of buprenorphine. The injection is from Indivior and is the first such therapy on the market. It's designed to be used alongside counseling and behavior treatments. According to the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, Subcolade would be different than methadone because it can be dispensed in a physician's office instead of a highly structured clinic, meaning it would be more accessible to those in recovery.
And the opioid epidemic may be leading to an uptick in another worldwide epidemic, the connection between addiction and AIDS, coming up.
And our weather team is keeping their eyes on an incoming storm. Could it be the first major snowfall this season? Jess Conley has the full forecast coming up.
205 people across the globe are infected with HIV every hour, and there are still 36.7 million people living with HIV.
In Maine, there are between 40 and 50 new cases each year, and there's still no cure. If you see people wearing red ribbons today, that's to commemorate World AIDS Day. Christina Rex is live at a vigil in Portland tonight. Christina?
Chris and Amanda, World AIDS Day isn't about fundraising, it's about remembering. There are going to be so many vigils like this one held across the state tonight to remember and honor lives lost in Maine to AIDS. Now, many people consider the AIDS epidemic a history lesson from the 1980s, but for many in Maine, it's still a very personal reality.
AIDS is still absolutely a thing, and stigma is a huge issue.
Because of stigma, and it's one of the reasons I'm out here too, is that we kept it completely secret. So my mom taught me never to tell anybody. AIDS is so personal to me, it's so intimate. I was born with parents who are HIV positive.
And things were so different 30 plus years ago when the epidemic first arrived. And
I lost my parents to AIDS. I was born in 1986 in very, very rural Pennsylvania. So when the epidemic was becoming a huge thing, and people in rural places where I'm from had no idea what it was. And my mother and father and stepfather and stepmother all contracted HIV. That's how I felt for so long. And then
my wife lost her uncle to an AIDS-related illness as well back in the 90s. So I think for us as a couple and for myself personally, I just feel a real personal connection.
When she died, I was laying right on top of her in her bed in our living room in our apartment. So it was very powerful, and I'm grateful that I got to be with her and to take care of her. My kids will never know my parents, and that's really, really sad for me. It's a major source of grief. And so I feel like I have to keep talking about it all the time. I want them to know my parents. I want them to know who they were, and I want them to know that they shouldn't have died, you know? Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think that they would be really happy and really proud and really grateful. And also I think they would never have been able to imagine it in a million years, because they never had any, I mean, there would have been no way they could have done this safely in our hometown in the 80s and 90s. So I think they would have been shocked.
Now, the executive director of the Franny Peabody Center for HIV right here in Portland says there's a chance that the numbers of HIV are increasing. She says that there's a chance the data is lagging right now, but that most organizations, including that department and also the CDC, are on very high alert for an uptick in HIV diagnoses. Why? Because of the opioid epidemic. We'll have more on that coming up on News Center at 6. Chris and Amanda?
All right, thanks, Christina. All right, yesterday we asked University of Maine students if they felt like their tuition dollars were money well spent.
And today on Facebook, so many of you shared your opinion on the subject. Abby says she pays hundreds of dollars a month for her University of Maine education, and she didn't even need her degree to land the job she has now. But Jason says college is absolutely worth it, no matter the price. He says what you learn in schools makes a positive, lifelong impact.
Jennifer says she screwed up her first degree. She majored in music, but had to go back to school to get another degree she could actually use. This time she's studying electrical engineering. Samantha agrees it's about choosing the right program. She says get into trade and you won't be in debt for long. Too many people are going to college just to go to college. Enough with the liberal arts degrees, she says. As always, thank you so much for weighing in. And don't forget to sound off on today's Pulse poll too. Which animal is the smartest pet? A cat or a dog? Right now, dog's winning here. Go to pulse.newscentermaine.com to vote or select the Pulse tab in our mobile apps right now. You still have a few more minutes to send in your vote.
Jess Conley's joining us now with a look at the weather. And Jess?
We know how Jess feels about this one.
Wait, about the dog cat one or about the weather part? Both. All of it, right?
All of the above. Yeah.
I have a lot of strong feelings.
Dogs and snow.
Yeah, dogs, exactly.
But
and dogs are fun in
is
snow, too.
Farfel?
She's pretty smart.
That's kind of how I feel about my dog.
Not totally, but
she does have her kind of silly moments, but
that are smarter than our dogs.
it's true. She's so lovely, though. It doesn't matter if she's smart, right? She's just fun. All right, let's talk about the temperatures. It was okay out there today. Our current temperatures are in the upper 30s and low to mid 40s. Currently 41 in Bangor, 43 in Portland, Rockland, currently at 44. So not a bad evening. Temperatures tonight are going to cool off, though, and this is why skies starting to clear out a little bit. And when you have those clear skies overnight, it lets the temperatures cool off, and that certainly will be the case overnight tonight. Upper 20s and lower 30s by tomorrow morning, around 27 early tomorrow morning in Bangor, around 29 in Portland. Close to 28 in Bar Harbor. If you're planning on coming out for our coats for kids early tomorrow morning, make sure you yourself are bundling up. A little bit on the chilly side. A pretty quiet weekend, though. You'll notice there's just not a whole lot going on. A few clouds around for both Saturday and Sunday. High temperatures on Saturday make it into the upper 30s and lower 40s. Around 38 tomorrow afternoon in Bangor. Low 40s closer to the coast, and pretty much the same situation as we head into the day on Sunday. A few more clouds around. Also, there is the possibility for a few snow showers, especially in the mountains of western Maine. Higher elevations could see a few snowflakes as we get into Sunday morning and early afternoon. But temperatures pretty much the same, upper 30s, lower 40s, which is normal for this time of year. So a pretty quiet weekend, but things are going to change quite a bit. Let's take a look at what's going on here. Next snow potential Tuesday. It looks like we'll see rain move in. Temperatures are going to be very warm ahead of a cold front that's going to move in as we get into Wednesday. But here it is, Thursday. It looks like many of us could see snow, and it looks like it could be some accumulating snow. Still a little early on this one to talk about exact amounts. I am going to show you a little bit of an estimate here, though. It will clear out, it looks like, by Friday and for next weekend. Again, this is just one model, but we are talking about, again, the potential for accumulating snow as we get into the middle and end of the week. A couple inches possible during the day on Thursday. So I know some of us have been waiting for it for quite some time, right? Here's a look at your extended forecast. Temperatures tomorrow and Sunday. Again, not bad. Upper 20s, lower 30s. Pretty much the same situation for the day on Monday. Mostly sunny skies. Tuesday, we'll see a few more clouds around, and then on Wednesday, things start to get interesting. It'll be nice and warm on Wednesday. Of course, that means rain, but as those temperatures cool off behind the cold front on Thursday, that's when we could finally see it.
It's
the
December.
Snow, the accumulating snow.
I feel like I'm about to hear White Christmas,
Just
like the snow, snow.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
no, Christmas, honestly, snow before Christmas is always nice.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Jess.
Thanks, guys.
As much as we love to eat lobster in Maine, we're also very protective of our marine life. And there's nothing like a picture of a defaced lobster to send everyone into a frenzy about ocean pollution. A Pepsi can image embedded on a lobster's claw was found off the coast of New Brunswick recently, and it was trapped by a fishing crew. But according to CBC News, the interesting tattoo of sorts wasn't discovered until it was getting branded. Carissa Landstrat was the one who posted the picture to Facebook. She says her crew has different theories about how it got there. One, maybe there was a can in the bottom of the ocean, and when the lobster was growing, it grew around it. Two, maybe a part of the Pepsi box stuck to the lobster and stayed there as it grew. Regardless, people are upset that garbage in the ocean is behind all of this. Josh Hogan says this isn't cool or neat. It's an abomination, most likely caused by pollution. Kimberly Young asks, what are we doing to our beautiful world? And it even caught the attention of the head of environment in the United Nations. He says we need action to beat pollution, to ensure clean seas, and that companies must take responsibility too. You guys, I feel like we've been, seeing a lot of weird lobsters coming in recently. The blue lobster, the white lobster, and now this. Just got a lot going on in the crustacean world, I guess.
Yeah, lots going on. Meanwhile, pollution in our oceans is a problem many Mainers deal with every day because we rely so heavily on the fishing industry.
But is glitter killing sea creatures? There's a rumor going around on the internet saying that sparkles could be the next product banned in the name of a greener planet. Our Verify team went looking for the truth.
It's a claim that started in the United Kingdom and is now making headlines across the pond here in the U.S. Most talk about a glitter ban and claim scientists are calling for the flashy substance to be banned. Our sources for this story: studies by Plymouth University in the UK, the FDA and the NOAA, and the article in The Independent that started this all. It all has to do with microplastics. Glitter, like microbeads in soap, don't always get filtered out by treatment systems and oftentimes wind up in rivers, lakes, and oceans. Now that spells bad news for fish and wildlife who might be eating these or having their ecosystems destroyed. But are scientists now calling for them to be banned? Well, yes. In a quote to British newspaper The Independent, environmental anthropologist Dr. Tricia Fairley did say she thought, quote, all glitter should be banned because it's microplastic. We can verify the base claim is true, but it's fair to point out there hasn't been any sort of legal or government action to make this happen, either here in the U.S. or in the UK. And the United States already has bans on microbeads like those found in common soaps. So while scientists across the globe are certainly researching, raising awareness of potential harm here, there isn't really any solid push or movement that would see glitter going anywhere anytime soon.
Jason Puckett with that report. As always, if you have something you want us to verify, let us know on any of our social media platforms or send an email to asknow@wcsh6.com or WLBZ2.com.
We're going to check in now with Cindy Williams, who has a look at what's coming up at 5:30. Hey, Cindy.
Hi, guys. Now that Senator Collins has decided to vote yes, the GOP tax cuts are one step closer to becoming a reality. What could that mean for you and your family? Don Kerrigan tells us what we need to know about this bill. And 1 year after someone stole her German Shepherd, a woman in Saco is looking to community service for closure. This time she's giving away a puppy to a very deserving family. That touching story and much more coming up in the next half hour. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Cindy. All right, tonight's the first Friday Art Walk in Portland. You can take a look at local craftsmen's wares or just take a nice stroll down Congress Street. But first, stick around for the rest of News Center Now. We'll be right back. All right, let's get one final look at today's Pulse results. Most of you believe dogs are the smartest pet. I'm actually kind of surprised by that one.
I know, 77% is a large margin of victory. But now it's time for the moment of truth. A new Vanderbilt University study shows that dogs are smarter than cats. Researchers say it's not that dogs' brains are larger, but they have twice the number of neurons linked to thinking, planning, and complex behavior. In fact, the brain of a golden retriever has more neurons than much larger animals like a hyena, lion, or brown bear.
I know we're not supposed to be biased, but like, I'm so in on that. And I see Don Kerrigan over in the corner saying, yeah, go dogs.
We had a lot of people weighing in that exact same sentiment. Thanks for checking.
Sorry, cat lovers. News Center at 5:30 starts right now.